first you need to know about clustering. I have more information about clustering on my website at johannaharness.com. I have a whole blog entry about it. There's more information there, but here's a short intro, okay? This is one I did just for this video. You have the video, you have clustering, you're always keeping going, you pull it all together. We're talking about Nano. We have a structure for Nano, the series. You just keep writing, you go fast. I want it to be helpful. Maybe you go over here and you start looking, I want to keep writing. Oh, I should mention my website because that's where I have more clustering information. I have a blog too, go over here. Use circles and lines. That's very important because it unites the left and right brain. That's when I got to the end and I said, oh, this is important, I need to emphasize this. Okay, when you get to the point in clustering that you start to write lists or you stop, that's where you know you found something important. So if you're clustering a novel and you're thinking about how it should begin, okay, you might do this whole thing to figure out where your novel begins. You'll probably use a smaller pen, right? And you'll use up lots of sheets of paper. Okay, so you can cluster to find your plot through line. What's a through line? Beginning to end, the main focus. Okay, this is what you need, the through line, so that you're not starting out and going, oh, I think I'll talk about this. Oh, I think I'll talk about this. Oh, maybe I'll go back into my plot, and then I'll go, oh, I found something else. Okay, plot through line takes the reader from the beginning to the end. Yeah? Okay. You've done all your clustering to find your plot through line. Here's one I just decided that we have an am writing mystery. Who took my coffee? Okay, and at the end, oh no, I didn't do my pre-work. I don't know, and so I have all these different ideas. Okay, and then I find the steps to get there. Okay, this isn't a great plot. Your plot is going to be wonderful. Okay? So you end up, you've done all this other clustering. Now you know, these are your major points. You can have as many bubbles as you want. Okay, your bubbles can be a chapter for a bubble for each chapter. It can be a bubble for each scene. It can be even smaller than that. It could be the beats in a scene, okay? You can have as many bubbles as you want. Okay, the key element here is that every bubble should be delicious. What do I mean by that? I mean each bubble is something with some depth. It's something you want to write, and it's something significant to your through line. Okay? So the great thing about this, especially if you don't particularly like to plan, is that you only have to do the planning to the bubble stage. So when you write this scene, the main thing you know is you have to get from here to here. Okay? What's inside this bubble, you can still explore while you're writing, as long as you start here and end up here. Okay? You don't have to know everything ahead of time. I hear a lot of people say that they don't like to outline because it ruins the spontaneity. There's still a lot of spontaneity within a bubble. You have, this is your through line, okay? There's going to be some bubble that is really, really delicious, okay? And this is probably your subplot. This is your wow bubble. It's probably somewhere at the beginning, okay? So then you work out your subplot in bubbles along the way, make it reconnect somewhere near the end of your through line. Now we move to the plot arc. Okay, this is where you figure out where all your bubbles fit on the arc. Okay, here you have the beginning. You have very little time in your plot arc for setup. Okay, this is your midpoint. At your midpoint, everything changes. You set the clock, the stakes rise, everything tumbles toward the end. Okay, which bubble fits here? Okay, figure that out, and you started figuring out your pacing. Okay, everything before that, this is all, there's no turning back by this point. Catalyst for the action, everything moves toward that midpoint. Okay, if you have a lot of backstory, you're going to have a ton of bubbles back here in the setup. And this is going to be really helpful to you because you're going to realize, I can't write all that. If I write all that, I'll run out of room for the rest of the book. Okay, I'm going to run out of words. So doing this, you'll know. You won't end up getting to this point and say, oh, I'm still writing these bubbles. Okay, you only have this much room. If you only have 500 to 700 words for that first scene, you're going to learn to narrow before you write it instead of after. And that is going to be so wonderful for you. Okay, once you get to the middle, then you have everything tumbling toward the end. Okay, the bad guys move in. There's going to be a dark night of the soul. Woe is me. Oh, everything is terrible. And then the hero is going to find a new way. Okay, this is really wonderful because if you have a character-driven novel, your main character is going to change from these startup scene to the end. And if the hero has to find a new way, there's going to have to be some changes in the character as you go along. Okay, so this is the plot arc. Plot arc leads to a contemplation of your word count goal. And I don't just mean your word count goal for Nano. I mean your word count goal for your book. Do some research. Find out the type of book I'm writing, how many words should it be? Okay? So you know, if 80,000 words is your goal, this is going to be about 40,000 words. Okay? If you know that, it helps you with pacing so much, okay? There's a reason students are always asking teachers, how long should it be? It's because you want to figure out your pacing, right? You can write about this topic forever. The question is anybody going to listen to you for that long? You need to know what your target goals are, and if you know that, you can begin pacing your novel. Don't worry about fleshing out every detail for Nano. You can have the structure for an 80,000 word novel, and you can write 50,000 words of it during Nano. And when you're done, then you can add details, and you can get, all the guidelines will be there, everything will be there, and it will be easier for you to finish that book after Nano's over. Okay? And finishing is important. Okay, so after you've done this, after your plot through line, after you know your word count goals, then you can start to also look at some really cool things. Like you can track time. And I don't mean your time as a writer, I mean your character's time. So when you're writing a scene, you know what time of day it is. That's really important. You only have to write a few scenes at midnight that really should be happening at noon, and you have to change everything, and then you have this really great device that only works at midnight, so then maybe you're going to rearrange things this way. Just know what time it is, know what day it is, know what season it is, get those things right, and you don't have to worry about it later. You can also track the setting, okay, because you want to vary the setting. Maybe all your scenes are inside, and that's how you want it, but maybe you want to move some of them outside. Maybe you want to think about how to change things up a little for the reader. On the other hand, maybe you have your characters running here and there and here and there, and oh, back over here, and there's no congruity to the whole thing. So if you plan ahead, you can take a look at those things and see places where you might have had to revise, where you're not really going to have to revise. And that is cool. I'm Johanna Harness. I have more author information at johannaharness.com. And I have wonderful short stories about my young adult character, Claire Morgan, at clairemorgan.com. And I hope to see you there. Thank you.